Unions will today respond to Eskom's latest wage offer. The SOE has offered workers a 7% wage increase. A deadlock in talks led to wildcat strikes at the utility. That resulted in intensified rolling blackouts. Let's take you back to Heidi Giokos now, our reporter who's following those developments today. Heidi, have you heard anything? We're just an hour or so away from 2 o'clock.
Nothing as yet, Masego, but I think it's important to highlight the fact that both unions, NUMSA and NUM, are currently behind closed doors discussing a way forward and discussing whether or not they are going to accept that 7% wage offer that has been put on the table by Eskom. We do know that unions had demanded that 10% salary increase. However, it seems as though that 7% is on the table for now, and both unions have been discussing this since last week. We do know that the situation is quite tense. We know that workers have been on an unprotected strike for days now, and this is basically the cause and the reason that Eskom has explained why the country has been subjected to stage 6 load shedding or blackouts. So what we do know is that unions first need to caucus together and discuss from all regions whether or not they are going to accept this 7% salary increase that's on the table from Eskom, and then at 2 o'clock we do know that Eskom management will arrive and they will then decide whether or not they go back to Eskom and say we accept the 7% wage offer that you've put on the table, or we have not accepted this. What we do also understand is that within this meeting that's currently taking place, there's issues around terms of service. As I mentioned to you previously, Masego, there were issues around how much workers are paid in terms of the service that's conducted by workers at the various power stations and units. Apparently the issue now is the fact that they want to make sure that there is back pay. It seems as though the amount that was offered for terms of service was not sufficient, and they want some sort of back pay. We do also know that workers had asked for what they call, unions are calling the sweeteners, so additional to the 7% wage offer that has been offered. So we're not entirely sure what's being discussed at the moment, but having spoke to both NUM and NUMSA earlier today, I tried my best to get it out of them, but it seems as though it's promising at this stage, and they could possibly sign that 7% wage offer deal that has been put to them by Eskom.
But Heidi, it won't be over from there, will it? Because we heard from Eskom last week that it's planning to take action, like your disciplinary action, etc., against those employees who embarked on that illegal protest.
Yes, and this is something that we've posed to the unions to say, what is your plan of action going forward? Is this part of your deal going forward? Have you highlighted this to Eskom, that how are you going to protect your members? Because we do know that Eskom has highlighted the fact that they will be taking action against workers who embarked on this unprotected strike. It's going to be a challenge for Eskom, I must say, Masego, because how do you take action against thousands of workers that decided to embark on this unprotected strike? It's going to be a challenge for them, but Eskom has indicated that they are willing to do this, and they will be doing this. When I had engaged with NUMSA's Phakamile Majola, she did indicate that they are trying to perhaps strike a deal with Eskom to say no action should be taken against workers, as they feel as though the only option for them to be heard was to actually go on this unprotected strike. Of course, it's literally put the country in crisis mode, because we have been going through stage 6 blackouts. There was fear that we could have possibly gone to stage 8 blackouts. This has a massive impact on almost every single aspect of our daily lives. What's also going to be interesting, and I think we must watch this closely, is that will these blackouts continue? Will we still have stage 6 blackouts even once this wage deal is signed, if it is signed today after 2 o'clock? What will happen going forward? We do know that Eskom says because of this unprotected strike, they've had no choice but to put the country in stage 6 blackout. So we'll just have to wait and see in terms of action taken against members, but also what the blackout schedule will look like going forward, and what will be contributing to the fact that we might still or might not stay in blackouts and have this blackout schedule.
All right. eNCA reporter Heidi Giokos with that report.